Welcome to Donnie Reacts. My name is Donnie, and this week we are reacting to episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Us. Last week we reacted to episodes 1 through 3, and we got Dorak, who decided to give her crush Pam to her brother Kay. We meet Tiny Face Woman, who wants the siblings to suffer, and Pam is actually going along with Tiny Face Woman because she wants them to suffer for whatever reason. Then Pam decides to date the brother, but as she's dating the brother, she decides to start kissing his sister. Yep, that's where we left off, and that's where we're gonna begin on this week's episode of Donnie Reacts. So we start with Pam, right? Pam is sitting at the table looking at a picture of her parents because, she's having a flashback about what happened with her parents. And she's sitting there crying in front of the hospital, talking about the hospital killed her parents. But she's sitting there going through her sad memory. Her grandma comes in and she's like, "Hey, baby girl, what's going on?" Pam tells her she's having, thinking about her parents, and grandma's like, "Oh, don't worry about that. Everything's gonna be okay. I've been taking care of you for a long time, and I'm gonna always be here for you." The things that grandma say. And she goes, "It's better to miss your parents than to not remember them at all." And Pam kind of chuckles because it's a little funny. So she's sitting there and being held and caressed by her grandma. Her grandma's like, "Is that it? Is there anything else that Is there anything else?" And Pam is like, "No." And I'm like, "Ma'am, you are in a whole clandestine operation right now trying to take down a family, and you're gonna say no. You are stressed out more than a little bit." But I digress. You get a scene. We get to the scene where Dorak is laying in the bed, trying to figure out what the hell is going on with her life because she don't know how she got into bed. But then she gets the memory of what happened, and then she's really like, "Oh shit." While she's trying to figure out what's going on, her brother calls. He's like, "Yo, I really need to talk to you right now." She has this oh shit look on her face. The same look she's had on her face since the beginning of this. He's like, "Can I come over?" He comes over there and she starts cooking. And I'm like, "Ma'am, there is no amount of food that is going to make up for the fact that you had your tongue down your brother's girlfriend's mouth last night." Okay, so she's giving him food, talking about how good the food is going to be, and he's sitting there trying to figure out what's going on with this girl. He's like, "I don't even know if she really even likes me or not." And Dorak, person that is the reason why she don't like him like that, is sitting there with this look on his face, and he's just oblivious. And I don't understand how he don't know and how he can't see this look on his sister's face. But she's sitting there looking there nervous. And if it was me, I would see this look and be like, "Why do you look like this every time I mention my girlfriend? You've looked like this since the beginning." And I'm now starting to notice that you look weird every time. But he does not even notice that. He continues on, and Dorak tries to give her brother comfort while at the same time trying not to spill that she's the reason why everything is not right and okay. So after they have their little lunch date thingy with lunch thingy, she goes to work and she can't stop thinking about Pam and that kiss. So she's like, "I want to talk to her, I want to call her, I want to text her." But instead of doing any of that, instead of calling, texting, or anything like that, she decides to run to her and meet her at the job or the school or the university where she works at, right? So they sit down and they start sitting there for a little minute, and it sounds awkward. And then Dorak says Pam's name, and Pam is like, "What? Ma'am, did you forget this whole scene?" Because I didn't forget, and she sure ain't forget, because she's in the moment right now trying to fully convince herself that the thing that happened between her and Pam was just, a mistake. Nothing really happened, nothing meant of it. And Pam's like, "Yeah, sure, nothing happened." And Dorak's like, "We need to go back to being, just friends." They agree and stuff like that. So Dorak gets up to walk away, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna leave." And Pam's like, "Why? We going the same way anyway. We might as well catch the bus together." So they get on the bus together, and of course the bus is crowded, so they got to get smushed together because why not? So they get thrown together a couple of times. They got this close face to face action like they want to kiss right there on the bus, but they know they're not about to do that. So they get off the bus, and then she tries to, separate herself from Pam again. And Pam was like, "Are you avoiding me?" And I'm like, "Man, how do you avoid someone who won't go away?" Every time Dorak tries to go somewhere, you're like, "Nah, we gonna go together." So again, that's what happens. They walk home and they finally get Dorak to Dorak's house, and she's like, "All right, well, when you get home, Let me know you get home. Let me know you make it home. And they sit there and they kind of have this little back and forth until Pam finally walks off and leaves. And then when Pam gets home, it's dark. And I'm trying to figure out how long it takes her to get from Dorak's house to her house if it's dark. Because it was daytime when you left and now it's dark outside. But when you get home, there are thugs up in your house holding down your friend and your grandma. Okay, not holding down your grandma, but your grandma's, screaming and crying while this other dude is asking for money. And you come home telling him to stop, and then nobody stops anything until Tiny Face Woman comes in and does her big one and finally does something worth something, and says, "Hey, I'm on the phone with the police. Hello, police. We got some thugs here trying to run up into these people's house and steal some shit. Can you come down?" And finally, they leave. So when they leave, um, and Grandma and old girl get settled down, Pam turns to Tiny Face Woman and is like, "The fuck you doing here? Why are you even here? There's no reason for you to be here. I told you not to come around like that. We aren't even supposed to be in the same area together. So why are you here?" And Pam, not Pam, but Tiny Face Woman is like, "Bitch, have some respect. I just saved your ass. What would have happened if I wasn't here? In fact, here, let me pay your debt off." And Pam was like, "No, I don't want it. I don't want you to pay my debt." And I'm like, "What do you mean you don't want her to pay your debt? She got you in the middle of a mission where you were out there doing all the grunt work, dating two people at the same time, breaking hearts and taking names, and she's just sitting back drinking wine. At least she could do is pay your debt." And that's how she feels. She's like, "I need you to concentrate on the task at hand. In fact, I need you to focus on what's going on with the sister because she didn't leave that house for no reason. You have to go figure out why she left that house because something happened between her dad." So Pam goes to Dorak's work the next day and is like, "Hey, do you want to go get something to eat?" And Dorak is like, "Yeah, I can eat." Even though she had just told her friends like no, but Pam's here, so she's gonna do whatever Pam wants. So Pam takes her out and they have this little lovely moment, and Pam is like, "You can tell me anything. You can tell me what happened with you and your dad and stuff like that." So Dorak starts telling Pam what's going on, and we find out not only is her dad just an asshole, he's also a cheating asshole. Okay. And he then spread himself so far. I mean, we already knew he was cheating, but he spread himself so far that he got back to her school to the point where he's at the school getting some other girl kicked out and reassigned because he was messing around with the mama. Okay. And the mama and the dad of the girl is getting divorced, and the other little girl is pissed, rightly so. And Dorak's pissed too. So she goes and tells her mom, but her mom knows the whole thing and knows what's going on. Dorak is mad that her mom was just sitting there taking all this stuff, and the mom was like, "Well, just don't let Kay find out." You know, while all this is going on, Kay is at Oat's place crying about, "I'm sorry that this stuff happened to you. I didn't mean to, ruin your life or nothing like that. I didn't mean for all that stuff to happen between you and your mom. I ruined your life." And Oat is looking like, "No, none of that happened." But you know who's ear hustling? Tiny Face Woman. Tiny Face Woman is everywhere and nowhere at the same time because she hears this. And right now, she has a little smirk on her face because she hears him say this and she feels justified and vindicated in everything she's doing. So she continues to listen to Ear Hustle while they going on and talking. But we get to the next scene where Pam is sitting there having a family dinner with his girlfriend and her family. They sitting there having a good old grand old time. Not even just that, they having family teeth cleaning time. They brushing teeth and having a jolly good time to the end where Pam sends Dorak home. But before she sends her home, she's having fantasies of kissing this girl again. The whole time still supposed to be with her brother. So instead of, you know, paying attention, Dorak has to call her name several times and be like, "Hey, I'm going home." And Pam was like, "All right, make it home safe." The next scene we get is when Pam is at the hospital finding out that her dad and her mom are hurt and they've been in some type of accident. And she is praying that they get better. And that's when this melting face motherfucker walks through the screen and is like, "Hey," to the surgeon, "I need you to get on the priority person we have. He's a big donor, and I need you to get him and fix him at all costs." And Pam was like, "But my parents got here first. How come you can't help them first? Please, please save my family." And then, of course, like the shitty person he is, he calls security. No, security! Stop cowarding! Okay? And have her dragged off. Now she in front of the hospital screaming every day, talking about how this place done killed her parents. And Tiny Face Woman shows up for the first time, I guess, and goes, "Hey, what you're doing now is gonna get your ass thrown in jail. I have a plan. Follow me." So Tiny Face Woman takes her the to her lair and goes, "Hey, we gonna get to him through his family. Here's this folder." And she slides over this folder, and in the folder is a picture of him, Kay, and Dora. And then it cuts to the scene where it's present day Pam and Tiny Face Woman having a conversation. And Pam was like, "I don't think it's the kids. I don't think that they are the reason why we should be here. We need to focus on the dad. We should focus on the dad." And Tiny Face Woman was like, "I don't give a fuck about none of that. In fact, we need to speed this process up because it's going nowhere with the brother. So I need you to dump him and focus on the sister." So Pam was like, "What?" She's like, "Yes, dump him and focus on the sister." So what does Pam do? Dump him. That next scene, we get her at the hospital having a conversation with him where he's in King Sad Boy mode again, talking about, "I'm not the best person and I'm sad, da, da, da." And she's like, "You know what? You are a good dude, but you're not a good dude for me." So they separate and they go their separate ways. You know where she goes? The next place she goes? To Dorak, telling Dorak, "I love you. I want to be with you." Right? She didn't even waste no time. It's not even the next day. It's like literally the next moment, right? So now, back at the bar, he's back at the bar with Oda again, talking about, "You know what? My whole life is shit. Don't nobody love me. I done broke up with my girlfriend again, or she done broke up with me. I'm single again, and this shit sucks. And I don't feel like nobody loves me." And she's like, "Well, I love you as a friend, but I love you. And you need to get over this whole you ruined my life thing. And that had nothing to do with you, what happened with me and my mom." And she tells him, the reason why me and my mom ain't talking no more is because I like girls. She wanted me to like boys. And he kind of has this look like, shit, you know? But she's like, "You know what? None of that matters. Stop blaming yourself." And he's like, "Well, let me blame myself until you fix things with your parents. I'll go on this journey with you." Okay. So while he's in King Sadboy mode, having the conversation, that next day, Dorag's boss is like, "Hey, I'm gonna take you guys on a trip for the next 3 days." So they go camping. So Dorag, not Dorag, but Pam shows up and it's like, "Hey, can I go?" And it's not even can I go. Pam is invited, and she goes on a trip with them. All right. So they're all celebrating this trip at Oat's place, listening to their homegirl tell the story about this person that she's dating and don't know what's going on. Everybody gets drunk and starts leaving, but Pam and Dorek are giving googly eyes to each other across the table. And you know who notices that? Oat. Oat is like, "Hey, Dorek, can I holler at you for a second? Can I talk to you? Can I flirt with you? You single, right?" And Pam is looking at her like, "Ma'am, I will choke you where you stand. You being a little rude and forward right now, right?" And Dorek is looking at Pam for some type of confirmation, and and Oat is like, "Does she make you flustered?" And Dorek has to stop and be like, "No." But at the same time, Pam was looking at Dorek like, "I will eat you like I'm eating this fry. I will take you straight down." Okay. So it ends with them giving googly eyes with each other. And then we get Oat looking like, "I know what's going on." And sidebar, Oat ain't shit for this. You were just having a conversation with her brother about how nobody loves him. And you gonna proceed to hit on his sister? You gonna proceed to hit on his sister while his other ex-girlfriend is sitting there making googly eyes at his sister? You like drama, ma'am, and inserting yourself in the middle of drama that is not necessary. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So that next day, Doric hands Pam a coffee mug with a picture she drew on it, and their coffee mugs go together, and it's a cute little couple coffee mug thing, and it's the cutest thing. They get the cups and they get inside the car and they take a drive all the way up to the mountains to where they get out and get to this break. And the Pam is, of course, taking care of Dora, giving her food, some type of sustenance to eat because she pays attention to the things that likes. Because when you like someone, you pay attention to the things that they like. And she brought her favorite like yogurt milk drink. Okay. Pam starts to talk about how she wants an easy and peaceful and less stressful life. And I'm like, you, ma'am, made more stress on your life by being a part of a cockamamie scheme to take down an evil man who absolutely needs to be taken down a couple of pegs. But you put yourself in the most stressful situation ever, and now you're on the top of a mountain talking about I want my life to be stress free. I think if we went back a few chapters, you could have probably had that. Okay. Anyway, so now back in civilization, we get doing the unthinkable. She is hitting on Tiny Face Woman. Of all the people in the bar, in the city, in the world, you picked one of the most damaged people ever and go after her. This is why I said she likes drama because of all the people, Tiny Face Woman. And Tiny Face Woman was like, I don't like flirty people. And Pam was like, not Pam, but Old is like, I don't care. You can come back and have a drink anytime you want, baby, and I'll be here and we can have a good conversation. That's basically how it came off. I shouldn't say all that, but that's basically what that meant, right? So as they're sitting there and Pam, not Pam, but is watching uh, Tiny Face Woman leave, we get to the next day. We get to the next day, and the homegirl that was telling everybody her business about who she was in love with is missing because that's what you do in the woods. You go missing. So everybody splits up. Pam and Dorak goes one way, and the guys go another way. And while Pam and Dorak is looking for a girl, they run into Dorak's damn daddy. He's in the wood with some friends, and they don't look like regular friends. They look like they doing some shady shit in the woods. But he's out there, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And Pam was looking at him. He's looking at Pam, and Pam was giving him this death stare, like, I could choke you where you stand. And he's like, Do I know you? And she's like, No. Well, he's trying to get closer and talk to Dorak. The phone rings, and they finally find our girl. And when they find our girl, she's in the woods crying because her friend, partner, the person she was with, breaks up with her because her husband found out. So now we're at this moment where it's like you kind of figured that would happen, but you know, we're sorry. All right, so when that happens, all that's going on back in the mainland, Dorak's mom shows up at Pam's grandma's shop, right? And it's such a small world that Tiny Face Woman has brought her ass back too. So now we have Pam's grandma, Dorak's mom, and Tiny Face Woman all in the same room when none of them are supposed to be meeting, right? If Pam and Dorak had been there, Pam would have had a heart attack on the spot, right? So Tiny Face Woman goes up and, starts to go buy some candy and starts, talking to the doctor and everything. And the doctor looks uncomfortable because if this is her husband's love child, she has to look like the dad a little bit. So she kind of knows what's going on, right? In the next scene, we get back at the camp, and Pam and Dorak are having this sort of cutesy, cuddly scene in the woods, talking about how much they love each other and the plans and stuff for the future. And they get back to the camp, and Dorak's daddy is there. And he's sitting there chopping it up with her friends. And she's like, The fuck are you doing here? He's like, Well, I should be able to know who my daughter's friends is. And I think we should talk. And she's like, Well, we can't talk here. We got to go talk somewhere else. So they go talk from somewhere else. And he's like, Well, I need you to come home. When you going to come back? And she's like, When you going to stop being a dog? So basically, he bypassed all that. And they're having an argument. And in the middle of the argument, his phone rings. And he goes, Oh, this is important. I have to have it. I have to take it. She's like, Of course, take it. And he walks off. Okay. And we're like, finally, he's gone because he is just a piece of shit, man. And everything he said was just wrong to her. And she was writing everything she felt and how she wanted to express herself, you know. So we get a shot back to Tiny Face Woman, right? She's walking into office. And if you saw my TikTok video, you know that I've always thought that she needed to go get some type of therapy or some type of help from some type of doctor, and she did that. And she chose her stepmom, Dorak and Kay's mama. So she's sitting there having a conversation with her stepmom about how her husband dogged out Tiny Face's mom and her and left them alone to fend for themselves. And the only thing that she got out of it was a condo. And stepmom looks uncomfortable as hell. She's fidgeting in her seat and everything, and it's just hitting her and striking her so hard that she goes home and tells Kay to invite this girl for dinner.
Bruh.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
And again, are there no laws against stuff like that? I'm pretty sure that there is some type of human resources or HR rule that says thou shall not be having dinner with clients. So she's talking to him about that while Tiny Face Woman is back at Oats Bar again, getting drunk, and her heel breaks. And she's limping out the bar. And Oat is like, here, let me go help you. And brings her some fuzzy pink slippers, get down on her hands and knees, and puts these slippers on Tiny uh, Face Woman's feet. And Tiny Face Woman is ungrateful and goes, these are some ugly ass slippers. And I'm at this point where, bitch, you could have been walking barefoot. But she, at the kindness of her heart, wanting to give you the shoes. And I'm at this point like, just let this woman date you. Give in, Tiny Face Woman. Because if you gave in, Tiny Face Woman, maybe, oh, would make you happy enough that you abandon this ridiculous plot to mess up these people's lives. But we're not finna have that. You rather just be pissy and mad. So it cuts to a scene of King Sadboy himself, Kay, talking to his friend. And his friend is like, dude, what's going on with you? And he just tells his friend, Kay tells his friend everything about, not everything about what's going on, that he's just sad. His family life is not the best. He done broke up with his girlfriend, and he's it. He feels like he has to be the one that everybody depends on because his family's falling apart because his sister doesn't want to come home. His parents ain't on the best of terms because his dad is always fucking somebody else. And he just broke up with his girlfriend. And he just sits there and he tells his friend that. And his friend just kind of stares at him like with this sad, like, damn, dude, that's all bad. And then it cuts to a scene where everybody's getting ready to go the next day from the camp. And they all get back at the coffee shop where they're separating and going their separate ways, saying we have fun and everybody be safe on their way home. And Dora stops Pam and goes, hey, can you help me study for my entrance exams? Because I would like to get into college. And Pam was like, of course I can do that. And they go their separate ways, and Pam ends up going home, seeing grandma getting a haircut. And she started thinking about the time she got her haircut, which was right after she met Tiny Face Woman. And the same day she met, I think the same day she met Pam, Pam met Dorak. And she's sitting there talking about how everything has changed and how she's, found some type of little bit of happiness. So she runs to Dorak immediately. It's like, can I talk to you? And she sits down with Dorak and says, if you feel this is wrong, I understand you don't want to date me no more. I understand, but let me know that I will love you no matter what, and I love you anyway. And I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And as soon as she got to, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Dorak was like, come here. And it ends with them kissing and making out. And now here we are. We have got to the end of episode 6 of Us. And now we have a bigger picture of what's going on. Okay. Tiny Face Woman is mad at the kids, not the daddy. We realize that. Pam is actually in love with Dorak, but we already knew that. And O is messy as hell. That's it. And I can't wait to the next episodes, and I can't wait to share them with you. So you guys have a good night, and like always, remember, lock your doors.